Ladies and gentlemen, it's the House of Kayfabe, and we're talking Kayfabe collectibles right now. And I have a surprise for Adam Harris, who may be the biggest fan of Andre the Giant in the world. I mean, it's possible you could possibly be the biggest Andre the Giant fan in the world. And of course, Stephen P. New is a fan of all things from the 80s that are anywhere tied to wrestling. So I have a piece of memorabilia I would like to share with you guys and see what you think, because the other day I was talking to a guy, and it turns out he's not really a wrestling fan, but he had his hands on something that he thought that I might be interested in. And I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, because you might hate me for the rest of my life if I told you how much.
I might.
You got a good deal, I guess.
I got a pretty freaking good deal.
Of course you did. You're Brian Reznor.
Really close to mint. Really close to mint. Andre the Giant Wrestling All-Stars rookie card.
Man.
Look at that.
Look at the condition.
You think it's close to mint, huh?
It's really close to mint. From the one...
Look at it, Adam.
Well,
I was comparing it to some other ones that have been graded online. I'm thinking it's going to pull a 7.5, maybe an 8. I mean, I don't know what... Like, I seen when I took it out and put the microscope up to it, we were talking about how this thing was packaged. There are no Andres with perfect corners. You don't have any Andres out there with 4 perfect corners, because the way this was packaged, one of the corners is going to get rounded.
That's right. These came as a mail order, right? And from the Wrestling News Magazine group, which remind me, Norm Keitzer, is that the guy who was behind the magazines and the cards? And so Cornette famously said, well, Norm's magazines weren't centered, and these cards, centering is a big deal when it comes to cards, because a lot of these 82s don't receive great grades because they're not exactly centered up, which is a common a thing of the phrasing. And then the corners is a second aspect of the grading. And because this card was on top, it's number 1, correct, Brian, in the series?
Yes, it sure is.
It's number 1. And so that means it was on top, which means that cellophane was wrapped up tight and they were sealed up around. So that Andre card, of all else, are the ones you do not see with 4 hard corners.
Why is it that I feel like
this is the corner?
Observer. Yeah.
This is the corner that would have been exposed to the elements. Do you see how freaking sharp that is?
Wow. Yeah. It does look good from just from this little zoom view I have on it. I would love to see it under a microscope for sure.
Yeah. So we also have a small, and when I say small, I mean microscopic little nick, as if it was made when it was cut. When the card was cut, it was like a small little thing. So those are the only 2 things that I could see that anybody would put any type of bad grading on this card for. But I don't think that it's going to go under a 7.5 or an 8, because it is so close to mint and all the colors are vibrant. Nothing has been aged.
All right. So for the unwashed and the uninitiated, Adam Harris, and I feel like I'm watching a real life episode of Pawn Stars, and our own Rick has brought in our wrestling card expert from down the street here in Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. So, Adam, let's assume that Rick Reznor here is correct, and he has himself a 7.5 Andre the Giant 1982 All-Star Wrestling card. What's he dealing with there? Let's assume it grades at a 7.5.
Okay, yeah. So presuming he gets it graded, it depends on which company. Okay, so there's several graded companies out there. PSA is going to take you the longest and cost the most, but it's the most respected and is going to raise the value the most. But there's a lot of Beckett graded. I'm looking at sold right now, and this is sold yesterday as we're taping this. An Andre the Giant 7.5 rated by BGS went for $1,500. 7.5. So if Reznor were to get any sort of grade in that range, I could see the card pulling at least that much. Here's a PSA 6, which is the highest value, that sold for $1,300. And that was with 34 bids. That's quite a few people bidding on it. They're willing to. There's a lot of people that are willing to pay a lot of money for that card right now. And then, of course, Raw, like Brian has it now. Well, I'm not seeing a lot of sold listings for that right now. Here's one for $144. A few $100, $200, $230. So. And that you can't tell the condition. It's really hard to look at a card on eBay. And if you're going to spend $1,500 on a card, you're taking a gamble on eBay. Brian, do you know where this card did you get it from the owner who got it from an owner? Do you know who the guy you got it from? He got it from his father. His father got it from the pack. So wow,
that's where it originated from.
Wow.
And when I was looking around, I seen someone had it listed. Now I don't know that it's sold, but a 7.5 Andre was listed on eBay for $3,500. We also had seen a 9. A graded 9 Andre the Giant was going for $25,000.
That's right. I just took it on listings. Yeah, wow. There's a BGS 9 listed for $25,000.
Wow. This could be $25,000, folks.
If it were to bring in that grade, although a BGS 9 is definitely not common, again, because of what we talked about. It's not that they're snooty with the grading. It's that these cards are, first of all, are 40 years old, weren't cut, they weren't produced by a trading card company. They were produced by a magazine company. So you're right. It could have been nicked in the cutting process for sure. I would love to know what machine he was using to cut these cards. Here's PSA 6 listed for $1,500. BGS 4, a 4. BGS is listed at $750. So, you made a pretty good investment, Reznor. No matter, if you got a good deal, you got a good deal, brother. So congratulations on that.
And you know what? Absolutely. I will be the first one to say that this card is going to be available as soon as it gets graded. It's going to be available at houseofkayfabe.com for purchase. And I will have a price tag on it. And here's the thing. I don't need to sell it. I don't necessarily want to sell it. But if you want it, then I'm going to put a price on it. So
Brian, I'm glad that you said that. And folks, for the listeners and the viewers, the Kayfabe Collectibles store that we've got opening up soon is going to be fantastic. We're going to have original items that you can only get there from the House of Kayfabe and Superior Radio Network. And then we're going to have stuff like Brian's Andre the Giant card. We're going to have a robe autographed by Tully Blanchard that Tully Blanchard had intended to wear to Starrcade 85. Wow. It's a light up robe with the wiring and everything in it. And just stay tuned with us because House of Kayfabe's got a lot of really great stuff that's going to be going on. 2022 is going to be our year. I know a lot of people say that around the turn of the new year, New Year's Eve time, but I'm telling you, when you guys see what we've got in store for you, you're going to love it if you're a fan of the sport of professional wrestling.
This is 100% true, and I also would like to throw in that you will also find food products on this site that you are not going to be able to get in your local grocery store. It will be available at the Kayfabe Collectible store. Also, we are also going to be having some action figures, and we're talking about brand new action figures. We've also are talking about releasing an exclusive House of Kayfabe card set. So there are a lot of things in the pike right now, including the fact that we might be the only place you can find AEW cards in the pack. So get ready. We've got T-shirts, we've got collectibles, we've got memorabilia, we've got everything, and it's all.
We've even got stuff that I'm not at liberty to talk about at the moment.
That's right. He's not at liberty to talk about it.
So under wraps right now. All I can tell you is I have connections to superstars in almost every wrestling company who are dying to put their names on this product and be associated with it. And I think that the wrestling world is just going to be blown away when it happens.
and we are going to continue to be the ones that blow you away. House of Kayfabe, we will be back, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube.